We now want to get into that important interview around insurance and looking at some of the statistics. Insurance penetration currently stands at just about 3%. Why is this? We are now joined by Elijah Wachira, the Managing Director from CIC Group. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much, Abby.
Wachira, the first question, of course, is only 3% of insurance penetration in Kenya compared to about 15% in South Africa. How did we get into this mix?
My thinking is that the cause of this low penetration has mainly been attributable to our cultures. When Kenya got its independence, our motto was Harambee. Harambee meant I don't have to worry about my needs. You will come in and help me pay my school fees.
Tusaidiane.
Participate in my pre-wedding. In fact, now, even when a young man wants to get a wife, they quickly call friends and they have the Harambee.
Yeah.
Yes. So that, to me, is one of the greatest. Then, for some reason, in the formative stages, and like many parts of the world, insurance has not been part of our curriculum. And in a large way, financial management, so to speak. So our financial education amongst even adults in our country is quite low. So that coupled with, of course, the mistrust around finances amongst Kenyans has led us to where we are today.
Do you feel like the untapped opportunities in the insurance industry are being tapped by companies like CIC and the many others who are joining in?
I have seen a lot of change in the industry in the last few years. CIC, for example, has pioneered in micro insurance, where we are going to the untapped and making sure that they begin appreciating insurance. I think it's good for me to tell you at this point that during the recent fire at Gikomba, where very many micro traders were affected, CIC was one of the leading companies that compensated the very many traders following the fires. So we are working hard in ensuring that we come up with affordable solutions that are tailored to the specific needs of each segment of our country and presenting them there in the most affordable manners.
Of course, the other big question around insurance has been, number one, affordability. The perception out there in the market is, insurance is not for people like these guys who are on the low income bracket. And this is typified by just looking at the kind of products that insurance companies in the past used to sell to the market. Is the trend changing currently? Are we seeing insurance companies saying, hey, we need to tap that bottom of the pyramid?
There's a lot of investment around the bottom of the pyramid. And I must say it has begun to bear fruit. What we are seeing now in the insurance sector, we have a number of products that are priced so low. In fact, I'm aware of products, especially pension products, where you can pay per day. I'm aware, 20 shillings per day or thereabouts. Simple products like, for example, a personal accident product will go for about, call it 2,000 shillings a year. When you divide that by 12, you realize it's about 200 shillings or thereabouts, which is quite low for a benefit of up to about 2 million shillings. So there's a lot of investment in this area to ensure that everybody has access to insurance services. And with the explosion, so to speak, of mobile telephony and mobile money and everything, almost everybody has a lot of insurable assets. And based on that fact, we are working hard to ensure that we have affordable products that can reach everybody and where people can use their mobile phone to pay for these services.
Of course, looking at the recent statistics coming in from the insurance report, we're seeing that earnings from the insurance industry for this particular year are likely to dip by about 53%.
That's correct.
What led to this?
If you look at the investment, let me first take our viewers through some little insurance lesson. Normally, you pay some very little premium, and in the event of a calamity, we pay back a big sum of money by way of a claim. How we raise the money, we collect the little premiums from various policyholders and invest that money. Some of it we invest in the stock exchange, some in the money market, some in the real estate sector. And at the end of the day, we come back to them with enough money to finance their operations. What has happened around this time is that we have a lot of, the stock exchange has not been doing very well. Coupled with that, the dollar is, again, the exchange rates are quite high.
102.
102 or thereabouts. So assuming that we were paying 80 to the dollar just the other day, or we're using 80 as our exchange rate, then what happens is that our cost of imported spare parts, for example, in vehicles, and our costs of claims have gone high, our investment income is low, and that has contributed to the low rates of returns.
Speaking about this rate of returns, where does this leave the shareholders? Are they likely to see a drought in dividend payout?
They will not see a drought in dividend payout because many times tough times call for tough measures. So what we have done is that we have gone out there, looked at the expenses that can wait, expenses that has to be managed, and at the end of the day, we shall make sure that we promise profits, not only to shareholders, but returns to policyholders, where we have policyholders who expect returns from us.
I know we digressed a bit just to give this interview some context around the numbers. And just shifting from that, looking at the broader picture of the insurance sector, of course, the other issue that has been slowing down the sector is fraudulent claims. How serious is this?
It was serious at one point, and you realize that insurance is a regulated business. So what has happened is the regulator of insurance, called the Insurance Regulatory Authority, has come up with an insurance fraud investigation unit, which has done a very good job, where a lot of fraudulent activities have been identified, have been taken to court, and this has seen heavy control in fraud, to a point where now, even as we've had media reports here and there about fraud, it is not at the levels that it was. In fact, it's at a level where you'd almost say quite common across the country and manageable.
So in the event that a fraud happens, how does it happen in the first place?
Fraudsters are very cunning people, so there are very many ways that they use to defraud insurance companies. I'll begin with maybe public service vehicles. If a vehicle has an accident today, and you are in CIC, we are not in public service for now, what you'll realize is that even as the vehicle had maybe 10 passengers, you could have about 100 claims where people are coming in, called ambulance chasers, to say that I was in that vehicle and I have these injuries, I need to be paid. That's the greatest fraudulent activity in the sector. The second one we have seen is in medical insurance, where if there is one person who is not feeling very well and one other person who is healthy, people will try to exchange the medical cards, and then the healthy person's card will be used to try and defraud the insurance company. We had a case like that in the papers the other day. Then, of course, we have seen people print motor certificates, and when you print fraudulent motor certificates, they have gone ahead, and in the event of accidents, we have seen them come to us and try to claim that their vehicles have been stolen or something like that. We have had other cases where a vehicle that maybe somebody has tried to sell it, he has not been successful. So what does he do? He ramps it onto a pole or something like that. And then there is a managed, so to speak, accident. So we have a few incidences of fraud that have been managed quite effectively by the Insurance Fraud Investigation Unit.
Interesting. And just to get your closing thoughts, as CIC, how are you positioning yourself to tap into the vast opportunities that lie in the Kenyan market as well as in the East Africa market?
One thing I will tell you is that CIC was the first to, is actually usually the first in markets, channels of distributions and products. We were the first to come up with a fairly affordable micro-insurance product that has penetrated very deeply into the micro sector. In distribution, we were the first, given our partnership with Cooperative Bank, to come up with bank assurance arrangements. And then we were the first again, and the only ones in Africa so far, in circle assurance arrangements where we are selling insurance through the cooperative movement. And the one thing I'll tell you for next year and going forward, we shall continue to be the first in products, in markets, and in channels.
That's a good place to end the conversation. Elijah Wachira, Managing Director, CIC Insurance, helping us understand some of the key trends that have been happening in the insurance business. I beg your pardon, he's actually the Managing Director, CIC Insurance, in charge of life, general business. Thank you for that correction. Well, and that brings us to the end of our show for today. My name is Abiagina, and on behalf of the crew, we say have a lovely afternoon.